Hello, could you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Jason Retallick, and I'm a medical student with the Dalhousie Faculty of Medicine in Halifax, Nova Scotia, here in Canada.
And can you tell me about your research here and the poster presentation?
So my research is on the development of the Mohs Surgery Clinic in St. John, New Brunswick, which is in fact the only Mohs surgery clinic serving the Atlantic provinces. And so what we've done is examined the clinical data from its inception in 2006 up until the end of the calendar year of 2013. And what we looked at was where patients are coming from to access Mohs surgery, which is one of the gold standards, or the gold standard for cutaneous neoplasm removal, that is non-melanoma, in areas where you don't have a lot of spare tissue, so nasal tip, out of the ear. And so what we're looking at is how far patients have to travel, looking at other things, so looking at what kinds of tumors are actually being referred for removal, which is largely in keeping with national trends, so a large proportion of basal cell carcinoma versus squamous cell carcinoma. And we also looked at a few markers of what may indicate surgeon proficiency increasing, so Mohs levels, how many cuts had to be taken to fully resect the tissue. And that, a quick overview. So just looking at some of the other things that we do talk about is that the Atlantic provinces, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland all have very similar population sizes, and while close together, still have a significant distance for patients to need to travel. So looking at this is projecting that it would be quite reasonable to have access for this in other parts of the country. And by other parts of the country, more specifically within the Atlantic provinces, there are roughly 21 Mohs surgeons across Canada, so that's about 1 to 1.2 million people. If you compare that to the United States, they have about 1 to 30,000 people. So it's really a disproportionate access issue, and we see patients traveling for quite a ways with long wait times.
And do you have any conclusions or recommendations you draw from these findings?
So the way the study was done, it's challenging to make recommendations because we are just looking at our clinical data. We don't have a control group, and it is a retrospective study. But because of the similarities in provinces, it's more useful from a physician planning perspective, looking at here's what we have for an area that's very similar to other areas, so we need likely more access to this, and it needs to be more well known among the providers in the area.
Thank you very much.
Great to talk to you.